one that's constantly trying to change into a new mold to try and switch things up just a little bit. And we'll see what it looks like here as we get ready to kick off our first map in the series. It's going to be Haven, and FaZe Clan have a serious opponent standing in their way of progressing further and moving on into the playoff stages tomorrow.
Yeah, and as we just saw that flash of the agent composition for these two teams, you notice that TSM, as I mentioned before, they're not playing a Sentinel on any of their maps so far. Like when they played the best out of 3 yesterday, they did not use a single Sentinel for the 3 maps that they played versus Energy, which means now at this point, they're playing triple duelist. And on a map like Haven, it's something that's not uncommon because it's been actually shown once before by Cloud9 before on this map versus Sentinels, and I think TSM could probably do... Actually, no, I actually see a Cypher right now. Or is it reversed? It should be reversed. I think TSM right now starting off here on the defense, and they are going that triple duelist. So let's see what happens here.
Now, BABYBAY is going to lead in with the Frenzy as the Jett. That automatic pistol is sometimes preferred if you can get into those close positions with it. Dark cover is going to go down to try and slow down the push, but FaZe has no intentions of slowing down at all. You'll see BABYBAY pop that tailwind to try and take out some Cypher hardware if any was on site. But look at this. Despite the amount of advanced position for FaZe, not much has really happened. Cutler does take some significant damage, so he's going to be backing off. And the spike has been planted, and it's time for a retake from TSM. It's a 5-on-5 in the pistol as the spike goes down.
And right now, the thing that's good that they have is that they have the Paranoian as well as Leers. So they're just going to explode to try to take this retake, which could be huge, but it starts off with a DK, unfortunately. So you still have one player that's low on HP, but they're holding their grounds for FaZe. So far, though, as they're playing super passively, TSM are doing very good to retake this site.
It does end up coming down into that 1v1 with ZachaREEE actually playing as the Cypher here, who finds the final 2 kills on the round. But then you look back at that shock dart that takes out Drone and you go,
unfortunate.
What happened there? Yeah, definitely not an ideal scenario to find yourself in. And we didn't get to see it, so we don't know the circumstances. I do want to say, can we give a quick shout out to the devs at Riot who have put this new spectating change in place, putting the numbers on the radar and also the little bar that shows us the buy as well. Thank you very much, whoever was responsible for taking that one on, as it has made the viewership experience so much better. Here we go again. It's going to be a quicker play towards Ace. The shock dart lands inside the cyber cage, does a little bit of damage to ZachaREEE as he tries to tap that cam. They've got one around the corner. There's a Leer to allow the peek from Zach. He gets up on top of the boxes. Drone is currently waiting back behind the double stack, but it is just pistols coming in here from TSM. It should be a somewhat easy round for FaZe to take.
But you still saw somebody got damaged there. I think that was hazed as the Omen towards that seaside, so he's going to have to book it back towards the garage. So they did have a weaker garage to start things off, but I still like the shock dart that was thrown into the cage. That doesn't allow FaZe Clan to take early control along A to set up a crossfire, which would have been a great surprise. But now as the action calms down, TSM is kind of guessing. Again, not having a Sentinel, they can't get the information, so they really have to rotate as a team. And now they're trying to stack back towards C, which has been their bread and butter on this map on defense before. But FaZe, they read into this. They're walking back into an open side at A side here.
FaZe easily gaining control of the A site. Very similar to the way that they did in the pistol round. No fight from TSM on that side of the map. No presence from TSM on that side of the map. Again, it'll be a 5v5 retake. This time, though, massive hardware and equipment advantage for FaZe. TSM, though, still getting into position. You've got Drone already leading out. Corey takes down Subroza, goes for the dismiss. Kind of baits out the peek from Drone. BABYBAY is waiting underneath, and the pieces continue to fall. Rawkus with a nice shock dart kill onto hazed, and Wardell will die through the cyber cage. A flawless round in the second round for FaZe. That's actually massive, as it'll allow the money to blossom here on this attacking side. But now the full buy comes in, and you better believe we're going to see that operator purchase from Wardell, picking it up right off the bat. No armor to back it up, but not a care in the world from the Jett main for TSM.
And this is where you want TSM to actually just start lighting things up right away, because this is a bonus round for FaZe Clan. They're only going to play with Spectres here, and you see how much they bought so far for TSM. that if any of these players die, it's going to make it more expensive for them into the next. You could even see Wardell. Yes, he has an operator, but he's also glass cannon. So I'm expecting something as a double play for this team for TSM to try to work up a first pick. And it starts off with a very aggressive push from Subroza down towards mid. But finally, he got pushed back from some utilities. That's going to slow things down for a bit. And seems the action is focused towards the A side as FaZe, once again, looking to take control of a split on the A.
There's the peak. Oh! Well, that didn't really work out the way that he anticipated. The tailwind keeps him stationary. Luckily, the peak was not advanced from TSM to punish that. Could have caught a freebie. Now the Owl will fly out first, spotting BABYBAY tucked in a corner. We'll continue this advance towards A, but it looks like the rest of the team is going to be falling off. You can see 3 pieces of FaZe now filtering back towards Garage. And the defender there would be Reyna, who's waiting on the other side. Long dark cover coming out from FaZe as well to try to keep them glued on the A site. There's still that presence coming in. Mid-smoke as well, coming out from over on C. And there's the initial peek. They're spotted as they come through. Recon dart to follow up. Paranoia through to blind them in the process of trying to get out. But look at this. They've gained access to A, and this is what they wanted, or so they think. They've still got one on this A site, so BABYBAY is going to get in position. That's a free kill, but there's a peek that could come in from Drone that could completely rip this round apart. They don't have the clock time. So now it's all up to Drone. Drone's got to get this first kill. There's the first one, and now they have to stick to Spike, but they have to worry about Drone, who's still on the site. Now they do get on the other side of that box while Wardell was going on a killing spree, but it's brought it all down to 1. It's BABYBAY who falls and leaves Rawkus alone in the 1v3. Post-plant, first kill's going to be his, and he'll upgrade as well to a Phantom from the Spectre. Now he's got the recon dart to try and pick out some positions. Players already on the site, but the spike's planted on the other side of these boxes. It's not exactly set up for him. So the shock dart comes through, goes to go for the swing, pulls off the spike with just a second left. Had an opportunity to just secure it, but a nice shot from Wardell to finish off the 3K on the round. TSM was a little awkward there, but they managed to make it work.
You see, that's the issue of not having that Sentinel once again. That's the last time I'm going to say it, but that gave a chance there for that push forward from BABYBAY to actually catch Cutler off guard by being able to push down towards the lower side. But the thing is, with the lurk play, they didn't allow it to get any more information towards sewers, so they didn't know exactly where Drone was playing. So you still have to give it for TSM. Despite that initial push from FaZe and the execution that happens towards the C side, nobody really rotated out of that yet. There was only Cutler that rotated out, and Drone stayed into the site. So they are expecting these kinds of fakes that are going to continue, from FaZe Clan, knowing that they have an agent that, or they don't have an agent that can get that information, with the exception of the Sova.
That was such a weird round, too, because if they didn't send someone sewers, if that Cypher doesn't go sewers, I think that ends a lot more favorable for TSM, because Drone doesn't have to take that early fight, can just spot the planner as he comes across, but probably would have been planted default, would have won the round on time alone. Wardell now positioned on long, has to be careful, as again, there's a target around the corner, and we've seen how they've used that Lear before, but there's the shot through, and it almost connected even through the wall on the Cypher, who was back behind the Reyna as well. So ZachaREEE dodges a bullet quite literally, as FaZe now tries to regroup to 4-on-5. And they seem to be working towards Garage, where they're going to have to contend with Cutler rocking the Bulldog as Sova. Doesn't have as much stopping power as some of the other rifles. We'll see what they decide to do.
They're going to split eventually. This has to be a big position from Cutler. Yes, it works out, but it's quickly traded out. hazed has to come up huge right now in the back.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, look at his position. He's actually up on top of the boxes, so he uses that shadow step to get into a better position, but he can't really make a move at this point. He has to wait until they try to cross, and there you go. That's exactly what he set up for.
One enemy remaining.
Now, there is still one more in Garage, but that player is now isolated and alone. ZachaREEE by himself, 89 HP, tucked in the corner. Paranoia comes through, and that is just a flawless retake coming in from TSM. Not exactly flawless in the sense that they have all players remaining, but a really well-executed retake. Great patience from hazed, too. Some players would drop off the box in that scenario or try and take the fight further, but he just waits. Allows his team to get into position, knows he's got at least one pick off before having to change spots. And that's exactly what comes to fruition for him.
And now you're definitely okay from the playstyle that what TSM is showing is that they're okay of letting that spike getting planted, and they're okay with playing retakes. If they lose players in the beginning, they just want to play their numbers in the end, when they hopefully from the players that they lose inside the site. It's a solo anchor, let's say right now from Subroza, that we see a lot towards B side. We saw solo holds here from Cutler towards the garage. If those players die, they hope that they're able to take down at least 1 and 2 so that the retake is a little bit more advantageous for the team. This time though, we're changing the pace for FaZe Clan. We are trying to take the long control again, but look at TSM. They're actually rotating everybody towards the C side because they expect to lurk towards B and eventual split. But Drone still wins that fight. This allows FaZe Clan to eventually walk into an open site where, like I said, they're okay to play retake for TSM. I talked about the leaders and the flashes that they have, but what's most important and what who they should keep alive is also Cutler. Cutler as that Sova with the dart is going to be a key component for the team for these retakes.
And there's the ult being popped as well. We knew we would see it come out. Hunter's Fury being sent in both directions. Who's going to get the pulses out first? It's Rawkus this time around. He traces that lightning beam back to its source. And that's a kill they desperately needed as it makes things 4 on 4. Now hazed spots one right around the corner. There's the ult being popped by Drone. He tries to run into position, but gets taken down before he can even spend a bullet in that spot. ZachaREEE with great shots coming out from the Sheriff, but it still lands on one player, and Wardell is just too quick with the operator. TSM survives, but it's a scary round. It's not exactly a good win coming in from TSM, given that FaZe didn't really come in with the greatest of equipment loadouts. There was a lot of pistols, and then of course they had the Jett ult as well. But it was good utilization of the ult to put them in a better position. So you saw Rawkus pop the Hunter's Fury, catching out Cutler, who had the same idea, but both players basically had to fight. So Cutler's first pulse goes towards more of a spike spot, and Rawkus says, okay, well now I know where you are, and I'm going to start shooting towards you. And I think Cutler tried to cancel and dodge at that point, but he just couldn't move fast enough. Well played.
Not only that, they also had the knives, right, from BABYBAY, which whatever offensive ultimates that they had for FaZe kind of allowed them to get into that site to get a spike plant, but also managed to get 3 kills out of that. So they hurt the economy. They chipped down the economy from TSM from the couple of the rounds that just got in a row. I think this is 3 in a row now since the gun round came out for TSM. So FaZe Clan getting their money right after all of these bonus from planting the spike every single round. That's 300 on top of that bonus that they get. So they are looking finally to have an operator wield it for BABYBAY, and he's looking for that opening. And not seeing an early fight or an early take from Wardell at long A allows him to take this pressure towards his A side one more time.
Well, BABYBAY is in position with the operator as well, sitting up on top of the double boxes. There's the dart to come out to give away positions. Won't actually land a pulse onto BABYBAY, who can stay in the spot that could end up being Cutler's demise. There's the ult being popped as well to allow them into a better position. Now Drone goes down in hell and doesn't really get much done. Subroza will pick up 1 kill, but hazed is taken down as a response from FaZe. So it gives FaZe a 3-on-4 advantage in their favor, and they've also popped Empress on Reyna. So they've got that increased fire rate and escapability. It gets real interesting here as you've got Reyna coming in from TSM on the other side towards long with the Jett BABYBAY holding with the operator. It seems like TSM isn't getting the opportunities they were hoping for. That's what they needed, though. They needed something to come through.
Ooh.
But did it take too long? Subroza finds that opener, but the rest of the team is unable to get into position. Cutler now dropping ZachaREEE, but it's lost. The clock has ticked too far away, and they can't get back in time. And you can see them already moving away from the site. Now Subroza's going to try and get some pickoffs here, do some econ damage, goes for the dismiss, and actually manages to escape. That's huge. I didn't think there'd be a spot for him in that corner, but in fact there is. Well played from Subroza and a great read.
Even the dismiss to get him into that corner, that was actually quite nice to watch. But then again, like that retake or that attempt of a retake on TSM was fully nullified not only by the Empress that was popped, where you could kind of be afraid of that fire rate, but it's also the hat that was thrown from ZachaREEE. As soon as he threw the neural theft down towards Hell, where Drone died, they were already able to see the flank coming in from Subroza, so 3 players were there. And then they had a big dart, at least from TSM, which would have been, okay, we know exactly where those 3 players are at, but the kills just didn't come through. And now it's just going to be hazed, holding his ground. Finally, he gets some action here towards the seaside earlier on, and he spams through the smoke and takes down Marved. This is huge for TSM to start things off to bring that economy back, but FaZe Clan doing a very good job, at least on their takes as a unit. I talked about how they didn't look as a unit overall for FaZe at the beginning of this game, but from the way that they've been playing the pulse plants into these sites, I gotta give them props for that.
Pickoffs going in both directions, some of it through That spiraling smoke from Jett. Drone. Jiggle peeking currently in the sewers, has to be careful. Some shots sent that direction, and yeah, now they're coming from the other side as well. He's surrounded. So right now, FaZe has actually put themselves in a decent position. Even though it's even strength and damage is dealt, they've managed to pull TSM off balance, shifting a lot of that weight on the defense over to A. And now you see Subroza slowly trying to sneak his way back into C. I don't think Rawkus is going to be prepared for this. This should be the execution. Beautifully played from Subroza. Now with 30 seconds left, they really have to get in to try to fight this, but Subroza also has to be careful. His team is so far away and there's so many positions they could be in. Now that he knows he's got to watch out. They throw the dart cover down to give him a little bit of more staying power, and there he finds himself now in the one-on-one on the site, and resources now shifting over in that direction. Subroza says, I don't really need you guys. Thanks for the help, but I got this. Puts the team on his back, wins the 1-on-3 on the C site. It's a 4th round for TSM as they regain control of the scoreboard.
Yeah, what would have been nice from FaZe kind of at that point, as they rotated everybody out towards that A side, that was a good job for them to start things off, but I don't think they knew that Subroza was only on a half rotation there. He wasn't really committed into the A side yet. Where they put the camera towards B main, okay, they could cut rotations there, they have 2 guys inside garage, but I still feel that they should have pushed as a unit, as a team inside the C side so they could at least clear that out. You mentioned it, after he died, after the spike carrier died, there was still 30 seconds left into the round, so that gave plenty of time to at least clear the site, make sure that they get the post-plant positions after. But unfortunate for that, Subroza took advantage of it and got a big 3K, and Subroza goes with another early kill onto BABYBAY at the garage.
And when Subroza starts to really feel it and gets aggressive like this, it's very difficult to stop, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Sure, this is just an eco, but it's a chance to build up that confidence and get himself in a much better position. Now, ZachaREEE has been really hitting his shots, especially with the Sheriff. Gets a little too overzealous and gets stuck in the corner. Cutler's kind of like, where did you come from? How did you get there? Corey with the backstab, but now it's just Corey alone.
I have this back.
Spike just being picked up, but 10 HP remaining. TSM ends up scooping up the round win. 5 rounds compared to just 3 for FaZe. It wasn't a strong buy coming in from them. The buy will be following up here in this round, and it will include the operator on attack. This is one thing we've talked about, Vansili. The operator on attack in more recent patches feels like it's not as viable as it once was, and it doesn't work as well as it once did.
But BABYBAY is still doing a pretty decent job with it so far, and even if he drops it, you saw that they're able to salvage it into the next 2. I know that we haven't seen many openings from that yet. I think the main openers that I currently see from FaZe Clan is that they have that lurk play that works out from BABYBAY himself. Oh, okay. A Vandal versus an operator that's been won by Rawkus. So that's an early sewers control from FaZe Clan, but the thing is, look how pushed up Subroza is too. So he could go for a fast rotation. They finally don't have a neural theft that's going to stop them down as well. But this is going to have to be huge from Subroza right now. The only thing is, Marved is also on his own flank.
Oh, man. Subroza comes up empty-handed. Not exactly what one would expect. And things not looking so promising here for TSM. As FaZe Clan has the 5-on-3 in the 5-3 scoreline round. Cutler does pick off BABYBAY, making it a bit more manageable. Drone still on the site as well, jump clearing currently. Oh, almost caught out guard. Has to be careful. There's the leer to lead them in. Curveball around the corner. Nice flash as well coming in from Drone, who still gets picked off. Goes a little bit too wide on the swing, and that puts all the pressure on Cutler. And now hazed is alone. It's a 1-on-4. This round is definitely FaZe to lose. As you see hazed pick off Corey, that's the Empress ult being taken out of the equation. hazed caught off guard though. Marved was already up in heaven, and he just didn't anticipate that one. A close battle right now. This is hard fought by FaZe, and they continue to keep themselves in the game and also put pressure on TSM's money. You know, yeah, sure, we saw TSM win a few rounds in a row, but the cash isn't exactly perfect over there.
Yeah, and TSM at this point too, they decided to take the defensive side first here on Haven, and I think it might change a little bit to see how explosive they could be on the attacker side. This is just very difficult for them to start things off, just because they have to add pressure, right? But from adding pressure, they add also weaknesses, and FaZe also knows that the pressure comes. So if it's not from the neural theft, you saw ZachaREEE that was watching that flank from sewers anyways to get that kill, and now as they continue to try to commit for this pressure towards the A side, side long, A side sewers, they're losing those individual fights. That's what I talked about in the pregame too. When it comes down to the 1 versus 1 skill-wise, FaZe Clan does have that firepower necessary. Now as a unit, they're looking a lot better too.
A trade back and forth, but again, FaZe has the advantage in the round from a numbers perspective. Good damage being dealt here as Wardell picks off one more on the cross. That's Subroza going down. That's going to be a big loss, and that's also the neural theft coming out. So that puts Wardell in a really interesting position. Puts a ping down and then changes spots. But right now, FaZe is kind of all over the place. You got a player garage. You've got one in mid going towards B. And you've got Omen back in spawn. Now, it's going to come down to this battle in mid. That's a huge kill for Drone. That makes the B site a non-option. So they'll likely be trying to use this pressure that they're building up currently in the garage to get on to C, where they're going to have to fight with Wardell, who has now decided to back off. They're going to be playing the post plant, and Marved on 20 HP is not going to have a whole lot to fight with. So there's the spike. Dedication coming in on the plant. Dark cover goes down. Wardell gets vertical up atop over that smoke. Good thing for him that he didn't try to sneak inside it. He's still waiting for his teammate to come into position. And Wardell seems to think that somebody could be hiding inside this, so he's being patient, waiting for it to dissipate. Once it does, it's time to move in. There's the flash around the corner. Great setup from Drone. Pick off from Marv, but he's not able to survive in the one-on-one. Again, the HP from Marv just a little too low. Drone caps off the 3K, and it's a round win for TSM.
Definitely the biggest play there for Drone was that 1 versus 1 on that B side. Yes, the retake was beautiful on that 2 versus 2. Lots of patience from Wardell, but it really came down to that fight between himself and Corey. Corey, who's been, only 7 and 8, but the entry that he gets or the frags that he gets have been on point. So with him lurking after the neural theft, they knew where the last 2 players were. So he's looking to catch that rotation, cut that rotation from Drone. That would have opened so many options for FaZe if he actually got that kill, because FaZe could have planted towards B or A at that point as well. So it just came down to that single fight where Drone made it easier and allows TSM to take this lead by 2.
BABYBAY's gonna pop the blade storm and pull the knives out, try and slice and dice here. There's a blaze wall down, and there's 2 targets waiting on the other side. BABYBAY tries to get vertical. That dart is gonna give away his position, and that's gonna be his teammate dropping as BABYBAY has to back off to avoid the death that would be coming his direction. Good damage dealt as well to BABYBAY at 46 HP. Now the pistols have been on point for ZachaREEE, but not this time around. BABYBAY with a nice pickoff as the knives are actually proving to be somewhat deadly here. And now that's an upgrade and another kill coming out from FaZe. TSM has watched their defense fall. A missed shot from BABYBAY gives them more opportunity to move in, and Subroza takes advantage. But this round shouldn't even be at this position. It's come down to now a 1v1 as FaZe has to dodge the ult and unfortunately goes right into the path of Rawkus. That is a huge thrifty round win from FaZe, coming in right towards the tail end of this first half.
That is so well done on that 1 versus 1 for Rawkus. Going with the first pulse of the Hunter's Fury and then even stopped it, because I'm assuming that he heard that shadow step shrouded step coming out from hazed. But yes, like you said here, Buck, it was not a round that was supposed to be lost there for TSM. So you got to give it for BABYBAY carrying the entries on the carrying FaZe on the back of BABYBAY for those entries that he got with the knives, because that opened up not only the site, but from picking up that operator just before he missed that shot on that player rotating from spawn side, he also saw the barrel of the gun of the second player, so they knew they were both towards spawn. And now they continue the aggression, but this time it's changed. Instead of going towards the A side, they're pushing towards C for the first round in like 12, where they're just trying to rush towards the C side. So TSM doesn't see that coming. They get 2 openers on top of that, an open site in a 5-on-3.
You know, we talked about this, that economic pressure that FaZe has kept up on TSM, and you can see it now illustrated accurately in this round as they come into the final round of the first half with nothing but a couple of pistols, and now it's been down to just a few players left standing. Wardell tries to do what he can, but with just a bulldog and several targets in front of him, there's just no way.
Switching sides.
So FaZe and TSM lock horns on Haven, and it results in a tie score 6-6 as we move into the second half. ZachaREEE with a strong performance is Cypher 13-9, a lot of that coming out of his sheriff work. Subroza, on the other hand, 12-9 just behind. But both Jetts not really putting up the numbers in that first half. Wardell had a couple of great rounds, but because of the economic pressure, not really always having that op in his hands. And then BABYBAY on the flip side, we talked about it. Op on the attack side feels somewhat awkward now. So we'll see what he's able to do as we swap over and put him on the defense.
Well, you also did a good job for FaZe Clan to keep Wardell guessing of where he should play that op too, right? You saw on that mini-map in a couple of rounds in that first half, sometimes it was opting towards sewers and lost that fight versus a Vandal. Sometimes it was opting towards long. It had a B where you tried to have Subroza push down and it didn't work out in their favor as well because FaZe Clan just kept putting so much pressure towards the A side eventually, and it just kept working on their side. This time though, like I said, this is the question mark now for FaZe Clan. As you have a triple duelist, this time on the attack, you might have the advantage to get sights now for TSM because of all the flashes that you have. So they are pushing into this B side. You do have a spike plan from Wardell. They're playing a passive retake for FaZe Clan, and the only thing that they have so far is Marved looking to get the smoke towards the front, and probably a paranoia in the end too. But it's a bad smoke. There's a gap in the open. Subroza gets the first kill, and that's just open season now for TSM.
It's going to be a difficult retake for them now, 5-on-3. And they're just trying to get on top of that spike, and that hot hand's going to make it even harder as Drone burns ZachaREEE alive. Now the molly's faded. Corey's trying to go back out and peek to go for that defuse, but it's all on Corey. And despite some great pink shots coming out on the pistol, the round is over and lost. Corey's just trying to escape. It's a flawless pistol round win for TSM as they try to kickstart this second half with a little extra oomph.
And that definitely was needed, right? A flawless round, huge economy coming in on their side. Now they're still trying to debate. I was trying to see if hazed was going to be like, should I buy a lower gun so that eventually it gets down to the point where they want to get an op early into the hands of Wardell because he already invested into a Phantom. Okay, they're still mixing around. So they're trying to work their economy a little bit here. For FaZe Clan, nonetheless, it's still going to be an eco no matter what. So they will look to actually split things off. So they're looking for pressure towards mid side first, and maybe try to get a lurk towards this A side. But hazed spotted the first one towards the C. He's going for this bulldog, aiming down the sight. But now the pressure is back for FaZe to gamble towards B, where, you know, TSM, where they rush it towards that pistol round, they expect or think that TSM might end up there at the end of the round for a spike plant.
Good damage dealt early by FaZe here, but not quite comparable to what's being done on the other side. See, hazed was low on HP as they now continue this push towards C. There are two players here. Great fat paranoia coming out. That blinds pretty much everyone. That's the beauty of those choke points and an Omen in that position. Now Drone will pick off Marv. There's still Corey around the corner. It's actually ZachaREEE who comes in with the classic, but they make it look easy as they survive with 4. Again, significant damage was dealt there, but not as many fatalities as you might expect based on the setup. Now the full buy comes in, and we'll see Wardell carrying the op, or is he? He actually decides to sell and go down to the rifle. Now, this is something we've seen. And again, it's going back on what we were talking about in that first half. Wardell is one of the players that's even recognized it, that on the attacking side, the op just feels awkward now. It doesn't feel the same way. So he initially purchases the op, but decides to go for a rifle. And also part of that could be just understanding the economy of their opponent. You know, they're maybe not going to have the rifle in play, or the op in play. They're going to have a rifle. So why give them an opportunity to pick one up? Still, the buy comes in from both teams. It's a little bit more awkward from TSM just because of guns that came in from the previous rounds. Subroza will get picked off pretty much immediately by BABYBAY, the earliest kill in the round. And that'll result in an advantage here that TSM really didn't want to give FaZe so early on in the round.
Yeah, and the Yellow Drone, well, the only thing that he spots is a camera, so Cutler's going to pop that off. And they're still going to try to explode towards this B side. So hopping into Mars smoke, they're going to flash outside and execute towards the B side where there's only one player playing. It's BABYBAY that got that first win versus Subroza. Now he has an off angle on the top here, but his position's given away. Not only because it's not pulse from the arrow, but he had to shoot it out. So he runs away from that position. They're trying to get the spike plant, but he's creeping back inside the smoke and gets the kill. Gets a second one at the drone, trying to push into the third as Wardell's forced on a reload, and ZachaREEE's the one that claims his life. And just like that, the flawless comes back in favor of FaZe Clan in the second half, and they're 1 point away of tying things up.
That's such a rough play, because you look at the timing there. You had Wardell on that spike position, holding on the other side of the smoke, waiting for a peek to come through, and changes position just as BABYBAY starts to come into that line of sight, throws down his own smoke, and actually allows BABYBAY to come out a little bit further. So it kind of created an opportunity. It's a small, minor thing, but it ends up resulting in huge success for FaZe. The buy still comes in from TSM. This time we'll see the op brought in by Wardell. Told to quote him if he misses. That's what we're said to do. So according to chat, you gotta quote him if he misses.
Nope.
We'll see if that's going to be the case.
And you got to give it as well for BABYBAY how he got those kills too, because he was individual plays by himself with the cloud burst that he has. So being able to creep through the cloud burst, waiting that to dissipate, then get those 2 kills after, that was huge there for FaZe Clan to be able to come back into this round. So this forces TSM on an eco, and they're not afraid of anything so far, as Marved himself tried to push forward on a lurk, but he gets punished by hazed. A Vandal's going to get picked up. Rawkus is in a great spot here, trying to go for the trigger discipline, but sees nobody else following behind Subroza, so he's forced to shoot, and then hazed goes for the double trade. So hazed by himself gets the first kill, 2 entries into the site. Now a spike plan for TSM, where the last 2 guys, Corey and ZachaREEE, trying to move forward from the spawn. But look how passively it's played from TSM. They have a perfect post plant position. I wonder if the spike plant was a little bit planted a little bit too closer inside there. That might force their hand to be discovered when FaZe Clan goes for a fake defuse. But FaZe Clan decides instead to fall back and save their weapons.
You know, when we talk about this team, we often talk about Drone, we talk about Subroza, we talk about Wardell. But a player who has really impressed me as of more recently is hazed. One, I love the flexibility we're seeing in the roles he's bringing to the table as we watch Corey get picked off as they exit from the site. But also the way he's locked down C specifically on this map. C is hazed's territory. That is his playground. Regardless of what agent he's playing, he is so good at playing that site, playing around those boxes. And we've seen it both on the offense and now, or on the defense and now on the offense as well. And I've seen it in previous matches in general. I just feel like hazed is so impressive on that C site. And we got a small taste of it there as he locks down the push onto C and makes the round that much easier for TSM to take. Their lead is 2. TSM is up 9-7 over FaZe. And they're just going to move quick towards long C, try and get some orb control and pick one off, and that's exactly what happens. Marved goes for the swing and quickly taken out by Wardell, who's got the op again.
So he continues to get punished, and at the beginning of the half two, I think he was like at a 1-6, 1-7. So TSM are doing a very good job to dispatch him early in the round, which allows him to get the pressure early into the map. That said, though, it's going to be hazed with 2 more kills, as we do have an eco for FaZe. So 2 players remaining once again. They are looking to get some control towards the garage. It is going to be ZachaREEE. Actually, ZachaREEE has a Phantom, so I wonder if it was a buy that came in after all. I didn't look at the scoreboard, unfortunately. It missed my point when I was looking through, but hazed with 1 HP is going to lead the charge to open up towards the A side instead. It's going to be an open site for sure, and it might be another round where the last 2 players might decide to save here.
Spike planted.
Well, there's the spike going down. And like you said, the likely scenario of a save. But FaZe does have some advanced positioning. You can see there is an owl drone coming out, and Corey does put a few bullets in it.
Yeah. They have no layers or anything too, though, right, Fox? So it's like, hey, let's try to catch them off rotation or catch them on a mistake where they might be aggressive. And maybe if they get a couple of kills, they could maybe take the site back. But there you go. You see them falling back, unfortunately, because they don't really have any utilities to help out with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's awkward enough to have a Cypher trying to retake, because Cypher's toolkit is not necessarily well designed for that. Sure, Cyber Cage can be useful, but without Lear, it's very difficult when it's those 2. So it wasn't just a numbers thing. It was all of the above. You know, yeah, sure, they're at a disadvantage. The numbers are out of control, but also just like you said, the utility is not exactly ideal. So that's another round win here for TSM, who looks a little bit more in control in this second half. 4 rounds compared to just 1 for FaZe. They won the first full buy round, and TSM won the last 2 since. But money is still good. FaZe being smart with their cash, saving rifles, carrying them into the next round, and putting themselves in a position where a full buy can be rounded out. And again, we will have the op on both sides here. Wardell is looking for an early peek to come through from sewers, but it's not going to be. The op on the other side of the map, it's in the hands of BABYBAY. It was over on C early on. Their Jett now changing positions. Corey does get aggressive, gets spotted by the Owl drone. Lear to escape, but no damage dealt to either party.
And just one person being pulsed forced a rotation out there. You said BABYBAY with the operator on the other side of the map, but he already rotated towards the A side. But now as there's no more pressure moving forward from TSM, they've quieted down their push. They're still trying to have FaZe guessing, and FaZe decides to gamble towards the A side, which is perfect for them. So now not only that, TSM, yes, they were able to get the first pulse to spot Corey. Corey falls back, but now the information's not back there again. So I think at this point, TSM, if they're trying to regress towards the A side, they probably wait for the Sova dart to be available again. But they're only leaving drone to lurk. So they're going to try to force a rotation out, drone to lurk towards the A side, and eventually being able to backstab FaZe if they can get into the A site or C site here for TSM.
30 seconds left.
Drone pops his ult, and the rest of the team is now moving towards C. You've got an ult coming in as well, as Omen pops it in the backside of site. There is Rawkus on the site to contend with, and they're going to try and take that battle. Rawkus with a nice shot onto Subroza, but there's still a lot of bodies on the other side, and doesn't really have many opportunities. Now he has his ult available, but it's going to be awkward. He's trying to stop the spike plant, but as he goes for the swing, it doesn't come through. But unfortunately, the spike did go down, so that's the round. TSM can't keep the spike planter alive, and Wardell also dies in the end too, as they go for that final kill. FaZe, you know, they had a awkward fight on that C site, but they got the most important kill in that back and forth volley. It was the spike planter who had no choice but to dedicate to that responsibility, as the clock was just ticked down too far. And when the spike planter dies, there's 1.8 seconds left on the clock. There's nothing that can be done.
The thing is, too, is a very similar mistake for TSM. Yes, we did have hazed going to the back of the site from the shadows to spot for some information, but he actually ulted towards the double stack. So he didn't really see if there was actually a player towards the back spawn side, and now thinking that they made it in, nobody's playing towards the default boxes. Kind of like when FaZe didn't check Subroza in the back of the seat. So that allowed for FaZe Clan to get the kill, also prevent a plant, and also having Wardell die, and allows FaZe Clan to have a double op setup into this round. In this round here, though, I wonder what's in the mind of TSM. Are they slightly a little bit frustrated from that previous round because they're starting early in this round with control towards mid? Look how pushed up they are, but the spike is all the way down towards spawn.
Yeah, that's oops. they'll scoop it up.
Time.
Yeah, they'll scoop it up, and they'll try and get back into position. I will say this: teams often take a little bit more time as they suss out their options across the map, so I don't think they really lost any time, but it's not something you'd love to see. Regardless, here comes the push that comes through. The Lear that leads them in is brutal as it ties in with the curveball. Drone and Subroza both finding the entries as Rawkus tries to stop the spike from planting, but he can't do enough damage.
Spike planted.
The Hunter's Fury not strong enough. And it's now a 2-on-5, and this is save scenario territory, and you can see exactly that occurring.
For the third time.
Yeah, they're backing off as they realize there's just nothing they can do. 2 spike plant detonations for TSM in this second half, and now a third to follow. FaZe is having a rough one. You know, they're losing a lot of these early round battles, and it puts them in a position where they can't fight for the retake.
And it opens up well for TSM, though, with the combo they have, right? So Sova drone, recon dart. We kind of have an idea of where the players would be playing towards that site after. But as you're pushing players back because of the recon dart, because of the owl drone, you allow your fraggers, Subroza and drone, to push forward. And then this is the explosive playstyle that I talked about when you have that triple duelist. They went in with the curveballs and the Lears, and you're just hoping that your duelists are going to be able to go in and get those entries. And it's happened time and time again for TSM on the attacker side, but also on the attacker side where FaZe is trying to change their playstyle a little bit too by getting their own map control towards that C. It's also being punished by hazed on that end. So there's a lot going on here for TSM that are slowly running away with this half, where when we said at the end of the first half they locked horns 6-6, but you can really see how FaZe seems to be struggling a little bit with their defensive positioning. Oh, Corey getting aggressive, spotting Cutler.
That's also the spike going down.
Yeah.
They have a line of sight on it, but realistically, position is not in a place where you can even do anything about that. So they have to back off. It's just an early kill. They can't do much else. I love the use of this dark cover from Marved. Throwing it down and taking advantage of the fact that they're down a player.
Removed.
Catches one off guard, has an opportunity to get one more, but Subroza's still in that position. They've got Marved still on the back line, but it's actually Subroza who's doing all the damage for TSM and keeping them in even strength. 2-on-2 as Subroza looks the wrong way at the wrong time. And it all falls onto this man. It's Wardell. He's got the op, and he's got the ult available as well. Now he can dodge the dart and get into position here with his op to try and catch one on the cross and then switch back to the knives if necessary. Wardell changing positions, knows where they're coming from, has to line up at least one of these, and now there's the knife switch. A little bit awkward, but it doesn't matter. Wardell hits the wall, gets back around the corner, re-peeks with the knives out, and a little bit of tactical crouching there at the end as round number 12 is put on the board from TSM, and they try to put map number 1 to rest.
And despite Subroza losing that fight on that second, on that 1v1 towards that B side, I think that was versus BABYBAY, right? Or Rawkus, sorry. That was good enough to let Wardell know where those last two players were, because you had the first fight coming in from the garage, you had the second one coming in from the B link, and on a pulse plant, you saw from that communication then that Wardell really just focused towards the entrance of the defender spawn, not really looking back towards the flank side. And that's just sometimes when you're dead, that's good enough for your teammates to hope to carry the round on his back. So Wardell did a great job, great clutch on a 2v1, puts TSM at map point, and FaZe Clan now, things looked grim at the beginning of the round. They almost got caught off guard there from that long C push from a recon dart at the same time, but Marv decided to think twice and not re-aggress as much. It's going to be Corey instead, all the way up towards grass, but they checked the 50. Subroza still half checked it, and he gets punished for it.
On the defensive side, I'm loving the way that both Corey and Subroza play aggressive as Reyna.
Yep.
It's netting them early advantages. And I love the fact that Subroza was doing it first, but I think I like the way that Corey does it more. I like the way that Corey is roaming the map, getting aggressive through garage, getting aggressive on long A, kind of varying the positions and catching TSM off guard to find early player advantages. The problem is
30 seconds
the rest of
left.
the team doesn't seem to be able to do much with that player advantage. It seems to collapse under the rest of that pressure. So even though they're finding them, we'll see what they're able to do with it here. 20 seconds left. TSM has taken their sweet time, and unfortunately, they're wandering into a trap. As there are 3 players on this A site, it's going to be a bloodbath.
And especially from that dart, that's good enough for them to get the position, but it's Drone that still gets the opening. It's traded off as they're holding their ground here for FaZe Clan. BABYBAY looking back towards long. The spike has been dropped, unfortunately. A flank is happening at the same time too, but Hayes stays alive and is able to get the headshot onto Marved. So FaZe putting another point onto the board. But with the amount of rounds that TSM have won so far, they should definitely be comfortable into a bye, still at map point versus FaZe. So as you said here, Bach, yes, it was a great job here from the Reyna to continue to push forward and get these kills, and these first kills for Corey and for FaZe. And this time, finally as well, FaZe Clan was able to hold their ground, and it didn't collapse because TSM just took too much of their time to execute into A.
I mean, this is something we're seeing from a couple teams now as the game continues to mature, is this very slow, methodical approach, especially to a map like Haven. A map like Haven where there's so many avenues and opportunities. Teams are really taking a lot of time to get out there. But this time around, TSM says, nope, never mind. We're going to run full bore into the C site, and we're going to try and take the battle to their doorstep. Marv is putting up a decent front on the defensive side, but Subroza is trying to equalize. Doesn't work out so well. Marv puffing up his chest and going big, but look at this. Wardell has actually already made it onto the A site, lurking as Jett with the op, and has now also gotten up into heaven and has a great line for a shot towards spawn. The spike will make it across, but he's realizing I gotta help my teammate. I can't abandon him as he tries to get this spike out across. There's the ult being popped. They're looking for the position of Omen, who's made it into sewers, but Drone's just too quick with the shots. The spike being dropped down to 20 HP. It all comes down to Rawkus. It's a 1-on-2, and the self-heal being utilized by Drone puts him back to more manageable HP. They're going to have to make a mistake,
Standing.
and that's it. Wardell goes for a peek, and that costs them that man advantage. This shock dart could actually be huge, but no!
Attackers win.
Simultaneous kills, but the round is over. It doesn't matter. Unreal.
Definitely good games exchange there for both of these teams. That 1 versus 1 was super close, but in the end, it's still going to be TSM that takes the upper hand. The question mark was, in this series, will they get the first map? Because it is an early matchup, they did. And now let's take a break, and when we come back, map 2 will be coming up between these two teams.